Hello students, hope you all are well. Now today we will start new chapter, earthquake. These are the topics which we have to cover in this chapter. Meaning of an earthquake, what are the causes and measurement of an earthquake, destructive and constructive effects of an earthquake, and what are the earthquake sensitive areas. What is earthquake? Sudden shaking of Earth's crust is called earthquake. As we know, when the temperature and pressure increases at an alarming rate in the interior of the Earth, then it leads to an earthquake. So these are the internal imbalances in terms of high temperature and high pressure results in earthquake. What is focus? Focus, in the interior of the Earth there is a point, there is a place called focus where the earthquake originates, and epicenter is the point on the Earth's surface that is vertically above the focus, and from this point, from this epicenter, seismic waves arise in a concentric manner on the Earth's crust that leads to the destruction. What is seismic waves? At the time of earthquake, when the waves are generated, called seismic waves. There are three types of seismic waves: primary waves, secondary waves, and long waves. So, the waves generated by an earthquake are called seismic waves. We'll learn about seismic waves in the next slide. Seismograph is an instrument by which we use to measure the earthquake. So this is seismograph. This is an instrument by which we measure the seismic waves generated at the time of earthquake. Seismology, that is the study about the seismic waves generated by an earthquake, or the science that deals with the seismic waves is called seismology. And a person who study about seismic waves generated by an earthquake, that person is called seismologist. Magnitude of an earthquake. Now what is magnitude? Magnitude is the total amount of energy released at the time of earthquake. Basically, we used to measure this amount of energy in terms of whole number and decimal fraction, or we can say in a simple language, magnitude is expressed in whole numbers and decimal fractions. For example, a magnitude 5.3 is a moderate earthquake, 6.3 is a strong earthquake, 8.5 is very strong earthquake. So how will come to know about these 5.3, 6.3, 8.5? There is a Richter scale, that is a most common scale which tells about the magnitude, or we can say intensity of an earthquake. Basically, it is measured in terms of effects on human life. If we'll talk about a magnitude of 5.3 is a moderate earthquake, so definitely less destruction will be there. If we'll talk about 8.5 magnitude and it is considered as a very strong earthquake, then it leads to the maximum destruction. Now next is Magnitude or intensity of an earthquake depend on these following factors. First is total amount of energy released. So, with the help of seismograph, we used to measure that how much amount of energy released at the time of earthquake. And how we'll come to know about the amount of energy with the help of scale. And what is the name of that scale? Richter scale. Who devised that scale? Charles Richter. Next is distance from the epicenter. Now, epicenter is the sensitive point from where the seismic waves arise on the earth's surface. So, we can say Bhuj is the epicenter of Gujarat. So, Bhuj is the name of the place where maximum earthquake occur. So, if we'll see, the destruction will be maximum near the epicenter. If we'll go away from the epicenter, means the places away from Bhuj, which is located in Gujarat. So, the destruction and negative effects will be less. Next is type of rocks. As we have discussed in the previous chapter, there are three types of rocks. That is igneous rock, sedimentary rock and metamorphic rock. So, which one is the soft or permeable rock? So, that is sedimentary is a soft rock, whereas igneous and metamorphic rocks are hard rocks. So, at the time of earthquake, which landform will be negatively affected? Obviously, the landform which is composed of sedimentary rocks which are soft in nature. Next is, what are the causes of an earthquake? The first is tectonic earthquake. Tectonic earthquake means due to the internal imbalances, or we can say due to very high temperature and very high pressure occur inside the earth's surface that leads to the earthquake. Next is volcanic earthquake. As we know, when volcano occur, so volcanic activities are associated with earthquake. So, when volcanic eruption takes place side by side, earthquake also takes place. So, these are cause and effect relationship. So, we can say volcanic earthquakes are not as powerful as tectonic quakes. Means, when volcanoes erupt and it trigger the earthquake, so there will be less impact of those earthquake comparatively to the earthquake that is caused due to the internal imbalances due to very high temperature and high pressure occur inside the earth. Now, next is folding and faulting. Folding, that you should know, when two plates here, two land masses. These are the two land masses that moves in the same direction, that comes together, and here two plates, two land masses that moves in opposite direction, and here two land masses that horizontally pass to each other. So, when two land masses collide with each other, then disturbances takes place at this boundary where these two plates collided. So, disturbances will be there, internal imbalances will be there and results in the earthquake, but of varying magnitude. As I told you, magnitude that is expressed in whole numbers and decimal fractions. For example, magnitude 8.5, which is considered as the strong earthquake. On the another side, a magnitude 3.5 is considered as very low earthquake. So, faulting means when two plates or two land masses moving in opposite direction. So where maximum chances of an earthquake? When two plates that or two land masses moves in the same direction, that comes together and collided with each other, strike with each other, and these movements cause imbalance in the crustal rocks. So it leads to an earthquake. So there are three types of plate boundaries. Convergent plate boundary, this is second. Convergent plate boundaries, when two plates or two land masses that comes together in the same direction. Divergent means opposite, when two land masses moves in the opposite direction. And transform, when two land masses that moves, or we can say that moves in the opposite direction without affecting each other, without colliding each other. Now these are the plate boundaries. Now I am showing plate boundaries with the help of world map. Now see, this is the west coast of North America, west coast of South America. This plate boundary comes under convergent plate boundary. And this side, this is the east coast of Asia, especially Japan. And these are the islands. So Malaysian island, Indonesia, that also come under the convergent plate boundary. And this part of North America, east coast, and the east coast of South America and parts of Europe and this side of Africa. So these areas come under divergent plate boundary. So what is the tendency of the movement of landform? These landforms like North America, South America, that moves in this direction, and here east part of Asia that moves in this direction. So when we'll see on globe, so this side of Asia and this side of North and South America, that faces each other. So here we can say both North South America, this west coast of North South America, east coast of Asia, that forms convergent plate boundary. Next cause, that is hydrostatic pressure. Hydro word doesn't mean here water. Here we can say human activities. We human are also responsible for an earthquake. Like we are pumping of groundwater, we are overusing groundwater for agricultural activities, we are taking out petroleum. So how we are taking out petroleum? With the help of drilling machine. So by using drilling machine or excessive use of drilling machine also creates imbalances in the interior of the earth. Over mining, blasting of rocks by dynamites, nuclear explosion, these are also responsible for an earthquake. Now, there are three types of seismic waves. As I have told you in the previous slide, that seismic waves generated at the time of an earthquake. So there are three types of seismic waves. Primary waves. Now what are primary waves? Primary waves can pass through gases, liquid and solid. Primary waves are the fastest of these three waves. Like if we'll compare primary, secondary and surface, primary waves are the fastest one. Secondary waves cannot pass through air or water. These waves can pass through only solids. And the velocity, the speed of secondary wave is less than primary waves. And the last is surface waves, also known as long waves. So primary and secondary, both seismic waves that occur inside the earth, but together these two waves, when it comes on the earth's surface, so these two waves together called surface waves, when it comes on the earth's crust which are very destructive. Thank you. Have a nice day.